Creating custom mobs inside of dungeons is extremely easy. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to do it. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is access our mobs that we have currently on the server. So we have to do /dungeons mobs. And that's going to bring up a little bit of a menu here. As we can see, we have nothing here. That's because we don't have any mobs created. Let's go ahead and create a mob by pressing this button. And let's go ahead and select this mob and get to editing. Now we have a lot of options here that we can choose from. For baby, we can go ahead and set that if the mob type is a zombie. If not, this won't be applicable. As for these other ones, we can set the glowing. We can have increased max health, absorption, custom damage, mid and max damage, drops, which you can just go ahead and add drops just like loot chests. You're just going to add drops like that. You click it, add your drops into this. Let's go ahead and do that actually. So let's go ahead and add some TNT. And let's go ahead and add some redstone to this mob here that we're creating. Let's change the name actually. So in the name here, you just click on the egg here to change the name. Let's call it Ravager. There we go. Cool. So now if we go back to the mob, as you can see, the name shows up there. Alright, so we can set the name to show up here as well. It can be not showing or showing. We'll set it to true. And for drops, we're going to add some drops. We'll add TNT and redstone and save. Let's configure the chance. So we'll set the redstone to be 50%, and then the other one will be 50% as well. So this essentially allows you to create your own loot tables for these custom mobs. All right, we have both our mob drops configured in terms of chances. They're both at 50%. And as you can see, when we hover over the drops, the current amount is 2. So it also shows up in this egg summary here of all the attributes basically of this mob. We have 2 drops. We can disable default drops, so the mob won't drop its usual drops right here. And we can add some debuffs. Let's go ahead and do that. So debuffs are basically what effects the player will receive if he gets hit by this mob. So let's go ahead and add like blindness. So if the player gets hit, he gets blind. And duration, let's change the duration out of 3 seconds. Strength 1 is fine. And that is for debuffs anyway. You can add multiple debuffs obviously, so we can add weakness as well. 5 seconds, why not? So we have 2 debuffs that the player will receive when it gets hit. And as for potion effects, we have, these are basically what the mob has in terms of potion effects, so boosts for it. Let's add a speed to it. And let's add, alright, so now that the mob has speed on it, we're going to go ahead and let's not give it custom damage. You can go ahead and do that if you want, but let's just leave it at the usual damage. And the mob type right now is zombie. Let's change that. So let's go over and grab a spawn egg. This is based off spawn eggs, so let's go find something cool like a husk. Very cool. And then we're going to go over to /dungeons mobs. We'll go over to select the Ravager, and we're going to go over to our mob type. We'll click on it. We're going to drop our husk spawn egg into the slot here, and we'll return to edit. Now it is a husk spawn mob type, and everything seems to be good and configured. We can also edit the score value, so how much points does the player receive when he kills this item, entity, custom mob. So we'll give him 70, why not? And we can also add some armor and equipment for this guy. So let's go ahead and grab some chainmail and a wooden sword, why not? So let's go over to mobs, go to Ravager, go to armor, and this has to be placed in the correct order. So helmet, chestplate, pants, boots. So we'll put our chestplate there, put our wood sword in the equipment slot, and we'll save our items. As you can see, when we enter it, it stays the same. So now that our custom mob is configured, let's go ahead and clear the weather here. So if we want to actually view our custom mob before having it spawn inside of our mission, we can do that. So to spawn the mob outside of your mission area, just to view it, you can do /dungeons, spawn mob, and then the mob number. Obviously it won't work in this region because we have mob spawning turned off, but if we go into like a region that does have mob spawning turned on, as you can see, our mob spawns, and so a husk can't hold any armor unfortunately, so that's why it looked kind of weird. But a zombie can, so that's why it works totally fine with a zombie. Just know which mobs, you can test out which mobs the armor works on and which ones it doesn't. But as you can see, he has speed, and we can also go ahead and test his debuffs. So let's go into game mode 0 or game mode survival and see if we're getting any blindness or anything. So let's go and spawn this guy up, and he's gonna start targeting me. And it looks like we have blindness and weakness. It's not gonna show up here because I have shaders on, obviously, but yeah, works out flawlessly. Oh my god, he's gonna actually kill me. That was good. That was good. Alright, and it looks like he didn't spawn any drops. That's because if we go over to /dungeons mobs and we go over to our min and max drops, we had it at 0. Let's set it to 2 and 1. Alright, so the next time we spawn this guy, and we've set our custom drops to be a bit more, as you can see we get redstone. Pretty cool. And that's the basics of custom mobs. You can't really put it inside the mission explicitly. You need to go ahead and assign them to custom spawners, which we'll be going over in Hives and Hordes. Go ahead and check that video out below this one. And yeah, see you guys in that video over there.